Alright, so we got episode 13 of The Alternative Future of the World. You can see the United States and Canada fused at one point. If you haven't seen that episode, I would go back and watch it. I don't remember which episode it was, though, so you might as well just start with episode 1. I'm assuming you've watched, if you're at this video, that you've watched the whole series, or if you haven't, then what are you doing? You kind of need context for what all these borders mean. So yeah, Tajikistan's looking pretty sad there, but so is Thailand actually. Singapore took that bit of Malaysia there, and this is what's left of Malaysia. This is some, you know, part of Borneo or whatever. So we're gonna say that. Okay, I think I know what's gonna happen to this episode. I think I know what's gonna happen. So last episode there was a war in Ethiopia, right? They gained a lot of land up here. This is not Eritrea anymore. This is part of Yemen, because whatever is left of Eritrea cannot function on its own. No, that's not true, but it probably can't function very well. This is what's left of Somalia, basically just Somaliland. Quite ironic. And then, yeah, that island's part of it. Ethiopia got this. The East African Federation got this. And the name for this entire alliance is the East African Alliance. This one here. This down here is the Southern African Alliance, this is the Central African Alliance, the Western African Alliance, and the Northern African Alliance. So this Western African Alliance is heavily Muslim, so we're going to say it's mostly pertaining to Muslims. But then there's also some parts, I think this country and this one have significant Christian populations, so does the south of Benin here, or what's left of Benin. Actually, it was entirely incorporated into northern Nigeria. But yeah, this episode we're going to go to South America and Central America, because there's going to be another war between the CSTO and the Western Alliance. Now, before we move on with this, I'm just going to say that the CSTO at this point has so much influence from China and Vietnam, Cuba, and whatever's left of North Korea, which was incorporated into China. You can see the common theme here of these countries that I'm naming. And also, what was the other one? Laos is in Vietnam now. So, the CSTO is no longer the CSTO. It is the Communist Alliance. So, there's now, the CSTO is now, basically had an uprising or whatever, whatever you want to consider it. They're now communist. So, and let's see, is there any repercussions of this? Not really, because this was, I guess all the countries probably knew this was going to happen, or all the countries in the CSTO knew it was going to happen. So we're going to say, we're going to say Eastern Turkey leaves the communist whatever, because they don't want to be communist. Let's just say they don't. But they don't become part of the Western Alliance, necessarily. Here's what we're going to do. We are going to make them part of the buffer countries, right? and so is this part of Turkey here, which was a buffer country, but now I guess we have to keep it. Well, you don't necessarily have to keep it as a buffer country. I guess you do, just in case this country here wants to become part of the Communist Union again. Then, oh, I did not mean to do that. Then, in that case, it can't take all of this with it, because then there's no buffer country anymore. So yeah, they remain separate buffer countries. We have, what else do we have? Which other country does not want to be communist at this point? Now, just imagine this is a very long time into the future, so all these countries are probably don't mind being communists, as long as they're still allied with Russia and China, which are very powerful in this future timeline. But there's also, I would say there would be an uprising there, but that might happen not this episode. We also say Armenia. Armenia does not want to. Well, that would look awkward, so never mind. But yeah, this part of Turkey does not want to be part of it. And also, Guyana. Guyana doesn't want to be part of it either. So they become part of the buffer countries. They don't want to join the Western Alliance, actually, because then they'll have to fight against Venezuela. And this basically protects them against Venezuela. Actually, being their allies protected them more, but this also protects them against Brazil and French Guiana, or whatever country this is. Okay, so before that happens, we have a fracturing of Brazil. Brazil's not supposed to be this big still. Brazil fractures, okay? Not as big as you think the fracture is going to be, though. But as you can see here, this is a country right here. And we will also have another country. From right about here all the way down to right about here. Okay? And that is still in alliance with Brazil, but they don't want to be part of Brazil. Okay? They just broke off. And so, actually, let me color in something real quick. Now, Brazil just kind of accepts this. They don't want to waste their resources right now because uh, they know there's about to be a pretty big war with Peru, probably, because there's no buffer country yet. They have not formed one. Also, they could have a war with Venezuela, too. But now there's less of a chance that that's going to happen. And as you can see, this country is now vulnerable. It's mostly Amazon rainforest area. But yeah, Brazil, they're just, they just took a huge hit there. I'm not sure. I think that was already part of Brazil, this part here. Maybe, I think. But yeah, before that happens, we have Chile and Peru fighting against each other. Now, Bolivia wants some land here. So, after the war, they're going to get some land. You'll see how. Alright, so we start with Chile taking the offensive. Here, let me. That's a different red, is it not? Oh my god, dude. Come on. It's gotta be the most red, right? Surely. Oh, fuck. I can't believe you've done this. Wait a minute. trying to see what I colored in there. Probably nothing, so we're just going to go back and color that in red. Let's assume these are all the same red color. They're not, because you can see when I'm coloring in this, it goes way back. Okay, we'll just save. Yeah, there we go. I figured it out. You just have to color both of them the same red, and then one blue. I see. Okay, so yeah, Peru. How did I go 10 minutes without anything happening? That's the real question. Um, so we have Peru invading. Actually, Chile invading Peru. Now Peru's caught off guard here. Actually, Bolivia starts invading Peru as well. They cut them off right about there. And then Chile. Chile's not that. Chile starts invading Peru pretty well. Like right about there. They capture all that. And then capture all of Peru. I'm just playing. Just joking. But yeah, they capture some of this southern part. Capture all this. Like this. And then they managed to capture a little bit more coast. I mean, they're Chile. Come on. They gotta be good at something like capturing coast. Now, while all this is happening, Bolivia is pushing as well. And then you have Peru finally pushing back. They get help from the Communist Alliance. But not like that. Oh my god. Can't believe you've done this. Okay, and then what happens? Here's what happens. This is all filled in. Okay, we have Peru taking all this back. And then we have like a stalemate. I don't know why Peru has all this. We have not that. We have this. Not that. We have Peru and Chile pushing back here. Kind of like this. They push back. And they push back over here. Now before they can finish though, Peru's already pushing them back. And then they reach kind of a stalemate here. Right about here. Right about here. Okay, but then before that can happen, let's see. I forgot to fill this in right about here. There we go. And then there's what's the no. We have neither of them surrender, but they sign a peace treaty. They basically what is it, Peru? Yeah, actually they both just sign a peace treaty. Well, let's not reveal who actually had the idea though. But yeah, they sign a peace treaty here, and here's what it looks like. It looks something like this. Chile gets all of this. Bolivia gets... Actually, let's go back. So Bolivia, they redraw the borders a little bit here. Bolivia gets all of this, and Chile gets all of that. And then Peru gets, what do they get? They get, I mean, they get a little bit of land, but like that. And then that should be it. As you can see, Bolivia's looking a little better. Chile's doing fine. They have a shit ton of land. They're not too bothered by this. Actually, before you finalize that, there's got to be a buffer country. Buffer country. And it's going to be mostly on the Peru side. Like this. Now we're going to make it like this. Okay? Okay, don't mind me, I'm just taking my time. Just taking my time. That's why this video is 17 minutes already and only one more has happened. Oh my fucking god. Go back. Okay, here we go. We gotta get this color. There we go. There's the buffer country. Very thin. They're supposed to be thin usually. Sometimes they're big though. And no, that's it for that front, but Brazil's not done. Brazil's not done with Peru. Actually, they probably had a war like a long time ago. They had to have had a war before, right? Well, if they haven't, they're about to have one. So Brazil starts pushing. Okay, they start hauling. They start hauling. Excuse me. What the hell? Is that the right red? Surely that's the right red, right? Is that the right red? Surely it has to be. Okay. Okay. Brazil starts pushing. They start hauling, like I said. Now, fuck, dude. I didn't mean to do that. Now, Peru, they push back a little bit, but, you know, to no avail, or to some but little avail, get pushed by Brazil. Mostly, Peru can't really do much here. So basically what they do is just, well, they fight for a little bit. And then once Brazil takes all this here, then Peru surrenders. Peru surrenders right about here. Because you can see they're getting, I mean, they didn't have to surrender, but they did. You can see that was a quick war. Now, Brazil has no, like, authority to take and carve out, like, all this part of Peru or whatever. So what they do is they basically just make a real nice thick buffer country. Because they don't have like complete influence over all of Peru. They can't be like, hey, Peru, can you like not be communist? They just can't do that. They have no ability to do that. I mean, they might be able to blackmail them, but this is like so far into the future. You don't even know what's possible and what isn't. So yeah, nice thick buffer country here. Brazil does not want to lose any land here, so they basically, actually, they're fine losing. Actually, no, they're not. They push down here even more, like this. And yeah, that's about it. So here's what it's gonna look like this. And then gotta make the borders. Gotta make the borders. Okay. Nice thick buffer country. Peru is expecting more than this, but Brazil honestly can defend themselves. They don't really need to worry about Peru just existing in general. So they go easy on them. And here it is. There we go. Nice thick border country. And it doesn't join with these other border countries because it just doesn't. But yeah, you can see it's completely cut off from the communist union or whatever is cut off from the Western Union. Now, I wonder where the next war is going to be. I wonder where. You can see nobody's attacked the nobody's attacked the in-between countries yet. Nobody's also annexed the in-between countries either, even if there's like two of them in between. Like, you see how there's two in-between buffer countries here? Nobody's annexed. We haven't had, well, this part of Turkey just left the Communist Union. And this part of it was the buffer country. So, I mean, the Communist Union or whatever probably wouldn't be able to annex this because they just left. But the Western Alliance might be able to annex this. But they're probably not going to because they might get threat of war by, a pretty big, huge power over here. It's not just one power, it's a huge alliance. But yeah, I wonder where the next wars could be. I wonder where. Alright, that's it for episode 13 of the alternative future of the world. I'm trying not to make the videos like over an hour like I did that one time. But yeah, something you gotta understand about these buffer countries is they're neutral, okay? They don't support the Western Alliance, and they also don't support the Communist Union. They're neutral. Now that doesn't mean Switzerland's going to be neutral, because it's not in between. The buffer countries, they have to be in between two major alliances. So like this one and this one are in between two major alliances. Actually, between any two alliances. Including Actually, that doesn't include the buffer countries because that's not an alliance. The ones in yellow there, that's not an alliance. You might think the buffer countries are an alliance, but they're neutral. They don't ally. They don't even ally with other buffer countries. So, but they're also neutral, so they don't start wars either. So that's why Iraq, for example, wouldn't attack what's left of Syria here because they might benefit from it, but they're neutral, and they would suddenly become not neutral anymore. They, they would become not part of an alliance. So the buffer countries kind of acts like an alliance, but it's not really one. It's just um, it's basically the closest to a neutral alliance. That's why it's not considered an alliance, but it's also considered neutral because that's what it is. I mean, pretty self-explanatory. I'm trying to remember. Oh yeah, this was cut in India basically, mostly. So India lost a little bit of land here, and they lost a lot over here to Bangladesh. All right, that's it for this video.